Right, so you find me at a peculiar angle. So distributor. Moving on from the last video, knowing the top camshaft pulley is aligned with the metal marker on the rock cover. Next you need to come to distributor, pull the rock cover off, distributor cap off even, and all we undo. The distributor does move a lot, we know that. That little marker there, this one, that needs to be in line with the rotor arm, which it is. Now the rotor arm will move left to right a few mil, 1 mil maybe, if that, they all do. But as long as the distributor is lined up with that marker, it will start up fine. And then once we move on to the next stages, we can tweak that. But make sure that's there, and then that's one thing not need to worry about. Now we know from the last video again, that indent under the marker on the flywheel, the arrow, that's where we want that. Again, don't worry about the diamond to the left of it, we'll come to that later on. So as long as that arrow is pointing at the indent, we know our engine's at TDC, so we can now move on to the belt side. So next step is timing belt kit yourself. Now INA, go for that brand if you can, or any premium brand, but INA, the ones that supply the manufacturers, can't go wrong with INA. It'll be the same part from VW, just in a different box. Now, good quality kit. This has been sat in the back of the car for a while, so now I've got a chance to fit it. A good kit should come with the actual rubber timing belt, and a tensioner, and a points card, and that you can stick that in your service thing, so that's quite cool. So again, this is all we need. Tensioner, we'll go to this next, and then we can double check where we are to get the belt lined up. So when you fit in your tensioner, that end goes against the engine, this end goes away from the engine, because this is the side you get your tool in to tighten the belt. And if you do that side, if you put it against the engine that way and tighten it up, the pulley will bottom out against the engine. So we'll just put that on the engine now. So this is a stud, again sticky out end, sits on there like that, and then we just put a nut on there for the moment, just to hold it on there while we get the belt over. So we've now got the belt on, and all we want to do is literally get the belt on and all the pulleys, taut this side where my thumb is, and taut between this pulley, auxiliary pulley, and the main pulley. So to go a few times, it's not tight to get on there. Once it's lined up right, it should fit on nicely with no movements, no time marks moved. Now, this isn't a VW special tool. This is a pair of circlip pliers, 90-degree ones. So the nut on there, do that up just so it touches it. Get these in there because they sit in there nicely. I've just got one finger on them, just so I can hold the tension on it. Again, you don't want it over tensioned, because that's where we start destroying our auxiliary shaft bearings. So all I'm doing, holding the tension on there, got my thumb on there, that feels about right. I'm just going to do that nut up, and then I can show you how it should, taut it should be. The tension's got tightness on it. I've done the nut up, just nipped it up just to hold the tension where it is, so we can test the tightness of it. And again, the belt's all on, and all we want to do is get this bit about, and you should be able to turn it freely. So this belt is at 0 degrees flat. You should be able to turn it no more than sort of 45 degrees before you start to feel resistance. So that's sort of turning it, feeling a bit more resistance there. So that's about 45 degrees, and you shouldn't be able to turn it to 90 without, yeah, so that's about as taut as you want it. Everything else is tight. So all we're going to do is just nip that nut up, touch more, and then we're going to rotate the engine over 360 degrees and make sure everything still lines up and we've got no mechanical contact inside the engine. So from the bottom end, all we're looking for when we put the belt on originally is tightness in this bit and the top long section. This side should be slightly slack because that's the side the tension is on. So it's all on there nice and tight. Again, I'm going to get a 90mm socket and ratchet on here, just turn the engine over slowly. So that's the engine rotated back over. There was no mechanical contact, no lock-up. Back to the point. That's lined up where it was. Back to distributor. That's lined up with a marker. And into your flywheel marker, that's lined up as well. So that's your three combat indicators. Bottom one, dizzy, cam. That's when you work off, like I said, the bottom pulley that goes on there. I'll show you when I put it back on how slack it can be with the measurement. So like I said, always work off a mechanical marker if you can, which is the flywheel, cam pulley and the distributor. So we're all timed up. Belt tension, double check the belt tension, it's been around a couple of times. Yeah, that's perfect, no more than that, happy with that. So all I'm going to do, torque wrench on there, apply amount of torque I need on that, and that's the Cambelt on. Another big milestone. So it's on. All I'm going to do is torque that up with it oiled to the correct torque, and then put all the gubbins back on. So I'll get on with that next. So all you want to do now is torque this nut up, and this doesn't get torqued up oiled, the crankshaft is oiled. So this one and the auxiliary shaft are torqued up to 65 Newton meters. Now the reason I haven't done it until the belt's on is because the engine one's timed up. So now we know it's all timed up. When I do this tight, there's a likelihood it's going to move the cams or move the alignment, but as we know it's all timed up, it's no problem. So torque wrench on, 24 Newton meters set. There you go. So that's clicked at 65 Newton meters, and you did see it move slightly beforehand. So that's all torqued up. Happy with that. What I probably will do a tiny little pen mark on there, so I know it hasn't moved. And then I'll just nip these up, make sure they're tight. So we've got the pulley adjusted, the cams all good done, and now what we've done is just marked it. Now it looks like I've gone crazy, but we've got marked between the washer and the cam and the bolt and the washer. So if those two move, I know that either the bolt or the washer's moved. Now each of these you'd think it's suffice just putting one on there or there, but that black outer cap can move independently to the nut. So I've got one on there and one on there. So periodically I can just undo two bolts, pull the plastic cover off and just have a nose, make sure it's all good. So now we can put the top cover back on, inlet tube on, we've got the bottom pulley on, bottom cover on, bottom pulley on. Now when doing these tight, I always find it good to, I had a big long extension out here, do it tight enough until the engine rotates, they're tight enough. Otherwise you've got to mess around trying to hold it in the centre with the socket and ratchet, and then a torque wrench and Allen key and everything on the outside. I've always done it like that, tight enough to turn the engine over with the spark plugs in, so you've got some force behind it. Chances are they won't come loose. Then I just need a repaint pulley for that because I've chipped it, paint the pulley for the power steering pump so they match, and then all the bottom of that go on. But that'll be the next video. So again, just pop that on there, cover on there, get the pipe back on there, and it'll be looking more like a engine bay, albeit rather dusty. So there we are, inlet pipes on. Duper clips, I like putting them the wrong way around so the nut is underneath, just so you've got a nice cleaner look on the top. So that's on there. So check in with the next video when we're getting the power steering pump on and making this sit straighter than it does. So cheers for all the subscribers. We're nearly at 500. Loving it. Catch you later.